Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and we welcome all of you back to another Chris and section. More specifically, talking about Chris and his his love affair for things degenerate and covering all things besides. So, hopefully, everybody's having a good day, and I apologize if my voice may come off as a little bit raspy during all this, is because I spent a lot of time talking yesterday, and well, that level of inexperience of talking at such great lengths, it can do certain things to one's throat. But now we move on to Chris and the world of fashion. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is your tax dollars at work at his helpful tugboat. Oh yeah, you just love to see me in the old red, white, and blue, from Chris to Casey in Chris trying to be flirtatious, and we know that just Chris can't sound sexy for toffee, let's be completely honest. Chris has a somewhat peculiar taste in fashion. Although he is willing to spend thousands of dollars on video games, toys, and sex dolls, Chris is very stingy when it comes to shopping for his clothes, which are usually purchased second-hand at thrift stores like the Salvation Army and Goodwill. Prior to coming out as transgender, the majority of shirts he owned were colourful coloured attires and undersized rugby shirts, most of which were decorated with horizontal stripes, which, despite being scientifically proven to have a slimming effect, have had any such potential effects crushed by Chris's impressive or otherwise bloated physique. Mailbag 42 revealed that at least one of these shirts, the Advice Dog, was purchased by his own mother. Wow, you're telling me at nearly mid-20s and Chris still has to rely on us. I've not had to have clothes bought for me since I was at least 16. Everything I just got for myself, and and of course, this is Chris, by the way, when he was about 7 years old, and geez, even at 7 years old, Chris already looked incredibly stressed. Man, it's actually kind of a little bit sad looking at it, but yeah. Though his mother didn't directly dress him anymore, well, that's a different matter, Chris still chose to wear these shirts. The advent of Chris's transgender shift was accompanied by a change to garb that may have been more feminine, but was awkwardly cheap and hideous. And by the way, this is him circa 2019, and I'll give you guys a little quick show of this. It's like a My Little Pony tiara, a headband, another headband, and like checkered eye straining tights, and blue and yellow sneakers that he spray painted himself. A small gallon of water. Well, at least we hope that's water. And a My Little Pony plushie, and both are wearing medallions. And Chris carries around his rucksack and half of a dozen other things as well, whilst he was at Region 10. Okay, so youth to adult. Childhood. In his youth, Chris set the general tone for years to come with many striped polos, t-shirts, and khaki pants. The only difference, compared to adulthood, is that he sometimes dared to wear single-coloured shirts with his favourite game and television characters on them. The only articles of clothing he was seen in until the summer of 2010 that didn't follow the long-sleeved colourful clown suit theme were the yellow Pokemon t-shirt and he owned since he was 19 and a Sonic Heroes t-shirt he wore throughout 2004. They did not look particularly good on him. I mean, listen, I love Sonic Heroes, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I wouldn't go that far. There's limits to certain things, and from obsessive to you gotta get out a bit more, and certainly not in a Sonic Heroes t-shirt. Does it give like an article to the clothes? Oh no, it's just to the actual game. Anyway, trademark clothing. And that wasn't before he started wearing it, by the way. This is the original and most iconic look of Chris, the standard until mid-2011. It is a look immortalized in his comic book self-insertion. His outfit usually consisted of his favorite shirt, a Ralph Lauren rugby striped suede polo, which was so tight that it accentuated his voluptuous masculine bosom. This is the shirt that Chris almost invariably drew himself while wearing in the comics. Trolls came to call it the clown shirt or the classic. It was thought destroyed in the 2014 fire that gutted the Chandler household, but later resurfaced for sale in 2017, when Chris listed it for a minimum price of $1,200. Most say it wouldn't even be worth 12 cents, but, Chris needed to try. I mean, he didn't try bother getting a job, and even to this day, it's been over 5,000 days since he last applied for one, so, give or take. Due to the financial crisis, and that as well, he had found it in a bag of damp, mouldy clothes, wet from the water the firefighters had used to extinguish the flames when his house burned 3 years prior. He washed it and then wore it for the first time in years when he uploaded live game stream C-Log 04192017, the shirt. The shirt was thrown out by Bob in mid-2018. Since then, Chris has worn a similar looking shirt with orange stripes instead of red. A t-shirt, undershirt, typically white, his medallions sporadically and his high school ring, a pair of P-word glasses attached to a chain, jeans or khaki slacks. Chris's jeans typically defined his rear end to a disturbing level. He may have been wearing women's jeans, or he may have been simply wearing pants his guts long ago grew. The belt buckle of fail. Alternatively, a green terry cloth bathrobe with a mismatched, of course, black belt on occasions, when he's in the mood for recycling. Oh god, this is yeah, I know what that's in reference to. Ugh. Or when even getting dressed would involve too much stress. I mean, again, considering Chris doesn't have a job and he doesn't have any aspirations for going outside anytime soon, so why bother anyway? On occasion, a dark suit jacket, perhaps for funerals or church. During the winter months, a dark blue parka with orange and yellow stripes to enhance visibility. Starting in late 2009, a bra to keep his previously mentioned bosom in check. And then we cut to the IBA outfit, the Ian Brandon Anderson outfit. In mid-June of 2009, roughly around the time he made Certain Friends, Chris temporarily decided that his current look was old hat. He got rid of many of the striped shirts, mostly because he couldn't fit into them anymore, and grew a goatee. The reformed Chris's wardrobe consisted of a plain coloured t-shirt worn over a long sleeve shirt, tattoo sleeves, a black vest, unbuttoned, that was too small for his enormous girth, a dog tag worn around the neck as a substitute for the medallion, a goatee, and sunglasses over normal sunglasses. The glasses chain remains. I'll be honest, I've never understood the appeal about people who carry around two glasses anyway. I mean, if you needed things for, like you say, reading and just, walking about anyway, just like people prescribed glasses, that might be fair enough, but Chris's vision is sort of mostly been okay, whether he needed to read or otherwise. I mean, he's mostly had to wear glasses anyway, but, it's one of those things. His new attire was first... I just scroll down 1 inch, and then the gay trucker outfit comes up, and... Did Chris get, bitten by something when he was during this time? Because his forehead looks bad, or it might be, acne or something like that. His new attire was first properly presented to the world in the Rolling and Trolling video. Soon afterward, however, he went back to sporting his traditional clown shirts and claimed that he had been pressured into making the Rolling and Trolling video. However, on the same day he shaved his beard, he drew the first picture of Colossal Chan, a character which preserved the look for all eternity. And in case you guys wanted to see this, well, wasn't that worth it? So, the gay trucker outfit. After he promised to leave the internet in the spring of 2010, Chris threw away his clown shirts, ditched the medallion for several months, it returned back in September, and picked up a new wardrobe in an attempt to look like a normal person. This included, but was not limited to, a denim jacket from Goodwill that he cut the sleeves off, or, making it look somewhat like a gillet, a sleeveless white shirt exposing his pale, flabby upper arms, the dog tag from his IBA outfit, and a baseball cap. Notice how this pose of the picture is eerily reminiscent of the She Came for Quick .jpg. Yeah, and I definitely cannot show that, but yeah. The result was a modified version of the IBA outfit. It has been observed that when Chris tries to look like a bad boy, he ends up looking like a gay trucker, hence the troll's term for his new wardrobe. I think part of the problem is that Chris tries. It's like he's almost trying to force a smile a little bit. If Chris was sort of a bit more just mellow about it, like he did. Okay, let me see if I can try and just give you guys an idea about what I'm trying to go for. So if Chris sort of looked a bit like this, like it just do something natural, do something relaxed, and then it should just be like, or something like that. I mean, again, I wouldn't attempt for the. I wouldn't attempt the look anyway, but yeah, you know what? Again, I'm no means like an expert in fashion and stuff like that, so you just take this sort of suggestion with a grain of salt. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure if Chris should have looked around for inspiration, or at least maybe lost a bit of weight first. Whatever. Anyway, the only way he could have made it look gayer would have been by combining it with his muscle bra, which unfortunately he did, and in public. At this point, going back to the medallion would have actually improved his chances of picking up gal pals. And you have to remember as well, among other things, that he wore this venue to Fridays After 5, where he was there were predominantly a lot of children around, and Chris stuck out so badly that it was genuinely quite creepy, to be honest, for a plethora of reasons. With the arrival of the gay trucker outfit also came an interest in t-shirts that boldly exposed Chris's desire for sex. Because of course Chris would do that, often in exceedingly tasteless ways. The first clear look at one of these shirts was in a profoundly disturbing video leaked in late April of 2010, which featured Chris wearing a parody shirt that changed the Mountain Dew logo so it read Mountain Dew Me. Fans hoped that since this was a private video for a potential sweetheart, it wasn't. Chris didn't intend to dress like that outside his bedroom. I wonder if literally it's even worth just checking this out. And well, there it is, and well, 42 bust Chris claims this to be, and can we even see this? I also missed these as well, where they label it subject matter, performance style, and the person involved and stuff like that. I missed these, going through the Cwiki and seeing stuff like that. But yeah.
Hey Jeff, not good enough for starters and to make a sale.
By the way, just for the record, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's Tomoko is probably less cringe than Chris ever could hope to be, but just.
Anyway, as for that, the quote-unquote Vanessa Hudgens, actually, this was actually, in reality, this Spanish dude I know, Joshua Martinez. Yeah, he was pretending to be Vanessa that whole time, and it ticks me off, that guy. That's another story for another day, though.
One thing I should also point out is that while he was attempting to woo Jackie, he continuously gets Jackie's name wrong, keep calling her Julie, and then he also does this.
Some finger play. Lots of fingers. So yeah, I could be like...
Oh god.
You lick your pretty little click there. Tickle your pussy. Oh, and here's the fun part. I can roll my tongue. I put it in there and extend it while it's in there.
Jeez, you know what? It's I don't know if it's just it's an inclination of just how unhealthy Chris is, or if he forgotten to take his Lipitor that morning. But even while trying to imitate the act of stimulating a woman's he looks almost out of breath and almost relieved that it's over. Maybe this was the point where Chris sort of maybe thought, was it even worth doing it? Anyway, when he wore a shirt that said "Enjoy Vagina" to Fridays After 5, a public family-oriented concert, yeah, he topped this by pulling that shirt over his head and standing around in his muscle bra, on which he had written "Want Woman." The common belief was that these unfunny sexually themed shirts were the next evolution of the attraction sign, a way for him to inform potential mates that he is available without ever hoping to talk to people nor spend any effort in making a sign. It probably didn't work. In late August of 2010, Chris returned to the internet with a series of videos in which he sported simple, loose-fitting t-shirts. The effect was interesting, bringing him closer to normality than he'd been in many years. He was still a pale, sweaty, balding, fat, pathetically weak man-child. That's saying that quite. That's underplaying things probably, but in Ruckersville, that put him reasonably close to the mainstream. I have no idea if this is a dig at the people of Ruckersville, but let's just say it's neither here nor there at this point. A number of Chris's t-shirts appeared to have been with him from a decade or more. A Manchester High shirt, a souvenir shirt from the Brickfest event in 2000, and a Pokemon trainer shirt from the Books A Million, where Chris played card games between 98 and 2000. Either he's willing to keep shirts that have some personal significance around for a very long time, or his pack rat tendencies prevent him from throwing any of them away. Definitely stuff he probably... I don't even consider Chris to be a hoarder. I think he just doesn't... he just keeps things for just to have them, not because he is obsessed or anything like that. It's just for the sake of possessions and stuff like that. The Carlos Chantal outfit. A simple picture of Chris posing as a male prostitute, and that's just about everything you need to know. Oh, and by the way, it didn't work, and this didn't last, and Chris still looks like he's trying to hold in a shit when whenever he smiles. I've mentioned that before, but then, well, if you're going for the angle of trying to attract females from the guise of a male prostitute, it's probably a better idea if you just sort of be a bit more relaxed and you just... If Chris was worried about people recognizing who it is, unfortunately, we could tell almost immediately. I'd never mind his looks, but also his language and all the rest of it. Many things we'll be getting into later, but it's not particularly too difficult to spot Chris out, just based on very, very simple and repetitive forms of speech and everything else in between. Transgender fashion sense. Early fashion. In April of 2011, a series of leaked pictures showed Chris dressed in women's clothing in public. This outfit consisted of bright green nail polish, earrings, a purple glass stud, and a blue ring. Note that piercing the right ear is traditionally code for homosexuality. Guess which one Chris pierced twice. But again, I don't know, maybe he thought that nulled the effect or whatever. Women's sandals, blue eyeshadow, jeans, blue string top, black thong. I'm going to assume that Chris leaked that information himself, and that's not just the Cwiki guessing. A silver ring. Note that silver rings have been used to symbolize as a pledge of abstinence until marriage. Not that, again, I wouldn't have known that, and I probably wouldn't have cared either way about that. A red and blue sweater vest, tank top, with a red shirt underneath it, red lipstick, a new pair of glasses, and a new headband as seen in Facebook pictures. So, as you can see, he made himself into a sweetheart from the ground up. Isn't it funny how that sort of thing happens? And, well, I don't know, maybe Chris could have done something to, I don't know, maybe clean. It still almost looks as if Chris hasn't showered because his hair looks very unkempt. But, again, what would I know about, having issues with hair? And, of course, you got this. And all I can do right now is picture the Melvin voice when he does this. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard. I think hair just went in my mouth doing that. While not seen in the leaked images, Chris's posts in Tomboys and Tomgirls of Virginia revealed he also donned skirts and panties as part of his new look. In September of 2011, Chris was also photographed carrying a purse. Chris was very happy with his new fashion choices, but friction with his parents made it difficult for him to wear makeup and women's clothing overtly. Sometimes he had to change after leaving the house or before returning, but he could always wear a bra and panties. Whatever. Late fashion. Chris continued to wear female clothing, albeit with some refinements over the course of the next couple of years. Although he has long since dispensed with the clownish polo shirts and jeans, many characteristics of his Tom Girl wardrobe are remarkably consistent with the way he dressed when he still wore men's clothing, especially in terms, or rather clothing that did previously belong to other men and then he just bought secondhand, but swings and roundabouts. Especially in terms of color coordination and clothing size. He also remains committed to buying all his clothes from thrift stores, giving him the appearance of a dumpy bag lady. He summarized his style in November 2014 as colored leggings, denim skirts, mini to knee length, bold colored shirts, and blouses. Some of the most frequent themes in this feminine fashion choices are, but are not limited to, clashing violently opposed colors, particularly red with blue or green, clothing far too small for him, dresses or skirts with very high hems, leggings to help with tucking, sports bras, big floppy church lady hats, eye makeup applied poorly, and usually purple or blue in color. And then, of course, there might come to the point where Chris... okay. A deviation from this style was seen in the video of the 26th of December 2014 incident, or, you know, the blue arms incident, or whatever you want to call it, where Chris is shown in purple My Little Pony shades, properly as a disguise, a silver headband showing off his ever-receding hairline, his Manchester High sweatshirt, short jeans, matched with long purple socks and or another pair of pants, and boots, possibly Uggs. Well, that sounds more like a sound that Chris would make, but yeah. The fact that Chris wore skirts and makeup for each of his court hearings in 2015, even those to which Barb accompanied him, suggests that he constantly dresses this way in public, and that his mother has come to grudgingly accept her son's transgender attire. I mean, maybe, but at this point I don't really think like Barb cared all that much anymore. In 2015, Chris also started dyeing his hair blue, but predictably failed to do it properly, and ended up dyeing it an ugly seaweed green instead. I'm not entirely sure how hard that could have been to do, but Chris can somehow manage to find a way to make something look really, really difficult and or completely improper, because Chris just, I don't know if he couldn't be bothered. It's, again, one of those things where I just think that Chris just couldn't be bothered to read or do things properly, and why on earth would you be surprised either way? Combined with his wardrobe that manages to somehow simultaneously resemble the attire of a 5-year-old girl and a 65-year-old cat lady, the resulting look has been sardonically referred to by Kiwis as mermaid grandma. Possibly, and then, well, I don't know. I've never seen like the rebooted The Little Mermaid, but I'm pretty sure Ariel had much better. I mean, this is sort of like, I don't know if this is like meant to be a wig, this one, but I wonder if this is like more the style Chris was going for, but it just wasn't meant to be. Gopnik outfit. Oh god, and now we're sort of like more moving into like the idea guy stuff in terms of timeline. In December 2017, Chris appeared in a video dressed as a classic Russian Gopnik, wearing a striped black Adidas tracksuit jacket with his usual ugly skirt and cap, drinking a bottle of vodka. The full ensemble, as Chris wore for his famous appearance at MagFest in January of 2018, consists of the cap, jacket, often unzipped over another shirt, and a pair of matching tracksuit pants, often under a skirt. Not too sure why he would need, you just need one or the other for that case, but however, he often swaps out the pants and sometimes wears one element of the outfit on its own. Chris first wore the Gopnik outfit under the Idea Guy's influence, but seems to have adopted it as a mainstay of his wardrobe. In February of 2018, he introduced a new model of the Christine doll with the tracksuit stripes and logo painted on. Oh, that must have been dreadful to see. In April of 2018, Chris drew himself in the Gopnik outfit on the cover of Sonichu issue 17. As recent of December 2023, Chris has been spotted in public wearing a pink version of the Adidas tracksuit, jacket, and the cap. So, Vivoloski. It never really died. The vinyl scratch. More like makes me want to scratch my eyes out. The vinyl scratch is a white-blue tube skirt with a double-hole music note. In 2015, Chris attended OmegaCon cosplaying as DJ Pony, nicknamed Vinyl Scratch by his fans, from the My Little Pony Equestria Girls franchise. The whole note resembling her cutie mark in her pony form. However, after the convention, Chris would continue to wear the skirt that came with the outfit almost daily, likely not washing it very often up until his arrest. I'm glad there's no evidence picture to prove this, but yeah, again, this is the problem again with when you're wearing shirts that are too short, is that it almost always looks uncomfortable to wear, and Chris, again, is just sort of trying to, I don't know if it's natural or just how it is and stuff like that. Then, of course, you have, like, other things here, that, like, the Breathe It In shirt, which he wore towards, like, 2018, and I don't know, it's just a shirt with Breathe It In on it. There's not much else to say. Although, ironically, a lot of these were filmed when Chris was completely going out of his mind about the dimensional merge, and yeah. Although, considering Chris has never really been to work since 2003, goodness knows why he thinks things need to be that stressful. Then, of course, you got headgear, which is, again, just unicorn horns, which, again, I'm just going to go into here and stuff like that, and you see Chris, once again, either having a small stroke or trying to hold in 2 dumps at once. Why is it every photo that Chris is ever in, he looks so just uncomfortable, sort of like, it's like, it doesn't like quite look natural, just when he's trying to, like, smile or even be next... And 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I had to, like, almost pause and unpause the video there briefly. We discussed the thing where he's wearing more Sailor Moon and stuff like that. A CPU wire tiara. So basically, he just made a thing with wire and stuff like that. It's meant to resemble a CPU logo from the Hyperdimension Neptunia franchise. And, well, your guess is as good as mine as to how comfortable this made Chris to wear. And then sort of we get like 2 more, and I think like they sort of speak for themselves. Like just rocks attached to beads and Chris sitting there thinking that he looks cool, but no, it tells a different story because of all the other clutter that's just sort of now. It's basically Chris was sort of almost turning into a human version of the game Buckaroo by this point. You just needed to put more shit on him until he eventually kicked. And Chris, again, wearing yet another sort of tiara swords, although this one looks a little better, I suppose, but this was, like, running up to his arrest. Oh, no, actually, well, yeah, actually, it would have been. Okay, so, rings, and I don't know, this is just, it's a bunch of rings and stuff like that. Now, who knows, who cares? Chris on fashion. Okay, so here we go. Now, one thing I will say just before we get into this is that the world of fashion is like 12. It's like having a small field with 12 beagles, and there is one beagle that like stands in front, and all the rest of the beagles have got their nose up the one beagle's arsehole. As far as I'm concerned, that is everything you ever need to know about the world of fashion. And well, let's see what Chris's opinions about this seem to reflect. In November 2016, Chris posted a commentary on women's fashion. In it, Chris implored women to wear skirts with leggings instead of pants, saying to view it from a pervert's perception. So from Chris's perspective, okay. They are downward and have good view of the in-between, as well as easier access to picture in their imaginations from there. Chris is the only person in the world who would admit to that, unironically, but... And he, with a dress, or now again, considering Chris never actually takes up on this advice, I think we could all view this as to which perspective we're seeing this from. With a dress or skirt concealing the area, it is actually more difficult for the perv, and thus, more difficult to picture and imagine what is or isn't at the groin area. Why did Chris think there was something else hidden there? But your guess is as good as mine. You probably might need to ask him yourself. He also requested men to consider wearing kilts, stressing to wear pants underneath, saying, "Nobody is impressed with that bulge. Moreover, it is absolutely offensive." I wonder if there would ever be there probably wouldn't be, but what if a situation where somebody called out Chris a pervert in public because you could see his eyes were looking at stuff like that? And let me tell you something now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not too sure if Chris has ever done that before, because it's you can't tell for certain and stuff like that. But you've got to think that. Oh god. Well, that's. But then again, he's stared very hard at things like that before in the past. And do you really think Chris has made up for stuff like this ever since? You tell me. That's not really for me to say. Which indicates that Chris has shifted from obsessing over men's chests to observing over their crotches. Several photographs of Chris taken in early 2019 show him wearing an orange, white and blue striped shirt, including an eyewitness photo of him at a Target store. Theory of fashion. The clothes that Christian chooses seem almost like a costume for him, especially his infamous striped shirt. Given that he is autistic, observers speculate that he may have difficulty with identifying things visually, including himself. In Sonichu issue 7, he alluded to having take time to study his appearance in a mirror, possibly wearing the shirt in question. Chris seems to regard clothing and colour as an integral part of people's identities. During the events of the Liquid saga, Chris took a special interest in Liquid's shirt of a brown striped shirt, referring to Liquid as the brown striped imposter, and fixating on Liquid's shirt as a symbol of his inauthenticity. Despite the fact that Chris owns several brown shirts himself, probably that might be as a result of what he did to them and maybe wiped them on it. But again, with any evidence to say whether he did or not, that leaves this question sort of in the dark. Chris also believed that police officers wearing brown or beige uniforms weren't authentic, and that true police officers only wear blue and black. He referred to the man he pepper sprayed as a yellow-shirted foe, and let's not forget the time he maced was inspired by Sega changing Sonic's arms from tan to blue. Like many of his lifestyle changes that occurred during the Tom Girl saga, Chris's unceremonious abandonment of his classic shirts came as a surprise to trolls who had spent years speculating on Chris's clothing as a symbol of his identity, and his usual resistance to change as a symptom of his autism. However, even in retrospect, Chris seems to hold the clothes he used to wear in very high regard as a symbol of his identity and legacy, as shown when he listed the classic on eBay for a whopping $1,200. Or, sorry, $12,000, I should say. Not that $1,200 is worth it either. Writing after the end of the auction, Chris felt the need to commemorate the occasion with some words, because of course he would. Yes, the shirt's auction has ended high, but I am still awaiting payment from the mother of one of the fans, who, unless remains anonymous, will have her name go down in history for not only restoring a very iconic artifact, but also improves this artist's family's life. After the restoration and disinfection of the shirt, her most grateful son will be proud of her for having gone down in history for restoring the 5 Survivor iconic shirt of Sonichu and Rochu's creator. Thank you, Mrs. Chris on why history should remember the momentous occasion where some dumbass bought a mouldy piece of cloth from another dumbass. Not only is this statement extremely egotistical, even by Quick standards, but it also portrays the fact that Chris continues to treat a shirt that he let rot in a plastic bag for 2 years with an undue amount of gravitas. It seems that Chris's views the clothing he has worn over the course of his life, much like the various names he has had, as an important symbol of his identity, as it has twisted and changed, because autistics are known to place extreme importance on inanimate objects. This can be seen as standard autistic behavior. Maybe, possibly here or two, give or take, but it's not unfounded, especially not in the case of Chris. And as we can see, the shirts, the classic, the advice dog. who even makes shirts like that, or even expects people to buy them? The Imposter, the Napoleon, the Racing Stripe, the Power Ranger, the Dunwich Horror, the Two-Face, the Pokemaster, the Horizontal Horror, the Jerk-Up, the Greasy Flag, the Starfleet Captain, the Segundia or Testarari, the Flag-Waving Patriot, the Captain Falcon, the Danger Stripe, the Cyclone Joker, the Swamp Monster, the Traffic. Did they really call it the Traffic? I'm done. I can't do this. The Man-Child, the Rugby of Shame, the Parappa Shirt, the Statesman, the Muscle Bra 2. There's at least several others, because for some reason Chris didn't catch on to the fact that you can actually wash bras to clean them, and he would like discard one after 3 days of use. I'm not joking. The Dirty Dashikai, the Mountain Doomy, the Ducky, the Shamrock Shake, the Shamrock Stripes, the Burgundy Nightmare, the Burgundy Nightmare Redux, the Bumblebee, the Intimidator, the Rainbow Flag, the Big Green, the White Trash, the Happy Jack, the Border Butcher, the Ivory Poacher, and the Virginian Monkey. And then we get into his pants of just jeans, slacks, and mellow yellow. And then we also cut to his cross-dressing boutique. From the Clopper, the Shattered Heart, the Broken Brony, the Promoter, the Sonic Rainboom, the Happy Hag, the Dealmaker, the Bubblegum Nightmare, the Toothpaste Tube, the Manly Chester, the Big Baggy Blue, the Man-Child Meltdown, the Classic 2.0, the Gopnik Outfit, the Lavender Lint Lingerie, the Ruckersville Motherfucker. And it's prison clothing. Oh no. Oh, that's perfect. And then finally, the New Age Funk, the Tracker, and the Classic Replica. And we also see here just pants and skirts, which include the Southern Western Sweats and the Vinyl Scratch, which almost looks like a shower curtain, if you ask me. Then we get to accessories from his unicorn cosplay, the crystal and gem necklace, and the brony bruises. And finally, other aspects of his fashion sense, which include his shoe coloring video, and goodness me, they look bad. In May 2020, after being sold to Jacob Sockness. Then you also see other little small things, like a wrist warmer, which is just to keep his wrist warm, I guess it is what it says. A fanny pack, and cosplaying. Do you think we should do a separate video for this? Because there's quite well, as far as we could work out, there's Chris trying to dress is that Cole Smithy in the background? Holy shit, I think it is. So this is where he dressed as Ash Ketchum, but decided to wear and there's a pickle as well, or maybe that's a pepper on his fridge. And aside from other things as well, this is him when he was, he had the Sonic Hero shirt. Great game. Clearly, just don't wear that sort of thing for what it's worth. Then, of course, you get all the things he did for Jackie, which includes the likes of, Mr. Popo, and again, if you don't quite know what this is what I think he probably thought he would look like. In the end, literally, it speaks for itself. This is, this is literally Chris donning blackface trying to assemble Mr. Popo, and then sings from the Crash Test Dummies. I don't really know if that's what basically is. Yeah, it's cheap, and Chris does things that probably people just straight up shouldn't do, and I suppose that's about it. Yeah, that is about it. So, from what we understand, ladies and gentlemen, and I think the biggest thing we could take away from this, ladies and gentlemen, is that unlike it would have been too perfect if somebody did like a parody video and it ended with the Gopnik outfit, and somebody just straight at, "We are the Gopnik Squad and we're coming to town, beep beep." And bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not calling myself, Gok1 or America's Next Top Model or anything like that. However, what I will say is that it's probably because he does get a lot of his stuff secondhand, so maybe some of his options are quite limited. But that's again probably why, if you wanted to like take care of yourself and you know, dress like you want to and the things you like, then that's why you don't waste your every penny you can get on video games and all the rest of it. Actually get something to look after yourself. Do that, and things might be different. But that might be a bit too much to ask, and also probably never gonna happen anyway. Still, we can all dream, can't we? But that is gonna do it for Chris and fashion, ladies and gentlemen. And I cannot wait to see all of you guys again. You know, fine, well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm gonna dress Chris up as Ziggy Stardust, and he could probably work that into Solitude somehow. And I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.